Hey. Can everyone just shut up for a second about the red iPhone? It's an iPhone that's red. We had third parties that could make this happen before. We have concept artists that can make this happen already. It's an iPhone that's red, okay? Let's get over it. I understand. You wanted the front to be black. Can we all start talking about something that I think is far more interesting and debatable? The 2017 iPad, which is officially what I am going to be calling it. Pretty short, pretty sweet, and to the point. You know what I'm referring to. It's the iPad Air 1 that's not really the Air 1. Lots of people are talking about how much they hate it or it sucks or things you should remember before purchasing. I want to say why I think it is a good iPad and personally one that can change the game. So of course, if you've been on YouTube and you've been hearing about the 2017 iPad for a while, you realize that everyone's pointing out the obvious flaws. A9 chip, not as fast as the iPad Pros. Non-laminated display, so there's a separation between the glass and the LCD screen, so it doesn't look as good. Viewing angles are also not as good as before. Things that they did with the iPad Air 2 to make it thinner and make the display brighter and look cleaner are not present with the 2017 iPad. There's no Apple Pencil support. There's no smart connector. It's thicker than before. The cameras are basic. They're the same as they were before. So a lot of people are all confused going, hey, where's my edge-to-edge iPad? Where's the built-in fingerprint reader? I want that iPad, the 10.5 inch. I want the iPad Pro 2. This is what we get? Let me drop a little nugget of information on you. The iPads, as they were last year, are not selling well. We had quite a lineup too. You know, we had the iPad Mini 4, we had the iPad Mini 2. For some reason, you could still buy. We had the iPad Air 2. We had two versions of the iPad Pro. Tons of iPads, and yet last year we saw a 20% decrease in iPad sales overall. Not too good at all. So what I realize Apple is doing, and I hope you all can understand, shifting course. Apple's realizing that their lineup as it was not working out in terms of sales. They were not making as much money as they used to. What were they doing? Any company's natural impulse when a product doesn't sell well, you go to the Pro market. You start putting more and extra features on there. See, the 9.7 inch iPad Pro to me proved that they were running out of ideas for the iPad market. Why? Because you added a camera bulge so that you could shoot in 4K and have live photos without a 3D touch on the and a flash. Like, that's a problem a lot of us had before. I'm always taking pictures with my iPad, but there's not a rear-facing flash. That shows desperation to me. So they're throwing every feature they got at it. You know, you got the 4 speakers, you got a smart keyboard, you got a pencil. They're doing all these Pro things, and while we're really satisfied with them, iPad customer satisfaction is, of course, very high. Sales, on the other hand, are not that high. Apple is recognizing this, and what they did with the 2017 iPad, something I think is pretty smart, considering they weren't having much success. You strip down the extra perks and just try to look at what is the priorities here. So with the 2017 iPad, they weren't trying to make the best iPad they've ever made. That, of course, was not the intention. That's why I didn't get a keynote. That's why it was a minor website update, not even a promotional image. The only reason we knew it was coming was because of Mac rumors. So what they did here was they said, okay, to make an iPad as well as our own iOS 10 very accessible to the modern public, as well as education, let's strip it of everything we don't think it absolutely needs. We're going to ship our modern day flagship operating system in a fairly decent piece of hardware that's still going to be capable, but it's going to be more affordable than ever. That is the priority here, making it accessible to as many people as possible. This is something they haven't really explored much with the iPad market. Last couple of years, it's all been how can we make it more interesting or diverse, you know, by having the 12.9 inch version, having the 7.9 inch version, you know, lots of different kinds, but none of them were really based on being affordable. This is the first iPad that's primary goal is to be accessible to anybody. So they said, okay, if someone's buying an iPad, do we absolutely need the 4 speakers? No, that's more of a luxury. Will everyday people notice that the screen is not laminated? Believe it or not, no, because the people who are interested in buying the 2017 iPad are not the kinds of people that watch this video. They're not tech people. So they're not going to realize that the 2017 iPad display is inferior to the iPad Air 2 until they put them right next to each other. That's not how they think. Most of the people who are going to be buying the 2017 iPad are likely upgrading from an iPad 2 or 3 because they want that iOS 10 multitasking feature as well as picture-in-picture, because you gotta hand it to it. The 2017 iPad is lacking a lot of flagship features, yes, but the one thing that is pretty capable is the A9 chip, which Apple realized is important. That is a necessity. If they expect this iPad to last a while and age appropriately, you know, speakers just deteriorate over time, displays deteriorate over time, but a processor, that can determine the length of your product's lifetime. So they said, okay, the smart connector, the Apple Pencil, these are major accessories that are very pricey. If this iPad is not supposed supposed to appeal to those accessories, let's just give it what it absolutely needs, which is a good processor and a fairly solid premium feel. Even though, yes, they're putting in a lot of yesterday's tech in there. The design of the iPad Air 1, the speakers of the iPad Air 1, cameras that aren't really too fancy. But please don't look at this iPad and think, why is Apple moving backwards? They cannot keep doing what they were doing the last couple of years if they expect iPad sales to turn around. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So if Apple were to have released the iPad Air 3 and made this thing have an even better chip with a 4K camera, laminated display, 4 speakers, smart connector, Apple Pencil support, it would end up costing $500, which Apple's kind of already released iPad Airs before that have had those premium features, hoping that people would buy them, and sales weren't turning around. So please don't blame Apple just for trying something different for once and hoping that they receive a change in sales. That's what they're doing here. The 10.5-inch iPad, the iPad Pro 2, those are all coming in time, but believe me, they will get their own keynote. When that keynote will be, I don't know, whether it's in April or in WWDC. It's impossible to know right now, but I can guarantee you that will not be a minor website update. Those are my thoughts on the 2017 iPad. I think it's a great product. Of course, I'm not very interested in buying it, but it's not meant for me. Meant for education and for average everyday people. That's what Apple caters to the most. And please shut up about the red iPhone. I'm sick of hearing about it. It is an iPhone that is red. No, I am not buying it. Most of you aren't either. This is your Apple Sheep here, and I will see you in the next one.